Welcome to a special edition of the Scaling Creative Podcast. We have a Q&A style episode today. So we got Pablo.
Hi.
Scott.
Hey. Also, can I address the fact that I know this looks ridiculous if you're watching on YouTube, but I forgot one of those microphones. So it sounds good if you listen to the podcast, but I look a little insane if you watch it. So head on over to the YouTube channel to check it out.
Those views are coming in now.
Oh, man. So for today's episode, we actually reached out to you guys on social media. We posted on pretty much our Instagram stories. Did anybody do it on YouTube? No, just stories.
Nope, just stories, Instagram.
Yeah, so we wanted to hear from you guys what some questions were that you had for us. And it could be life, leadership, business, video production, all the above.
And we got all
It's
the
fair
above.
game. Yeah, we definitely got
Actually, all of the above.
all of the above.
People are interesting. People ask some interesting questions.
Yeah, they for sure do. So the first ones I'm going to kind of start with are some fun ones that we can all answer.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So
Rapid
the first
fire.
one, since we drink this a lot, I thought we had multiple people ask, what's your go-to coffee order?
Oh, easy.
What month are we
What
talking
month?
about?
I don't.
Well,
It
it's month
varies?
specific.
Yeah, iced or hot. Whole
Well,
different story.
That's true.
It's on the season.
okay, right now. What's your
Right
favorite?
now, it would be a blonde roast from Starbucks with vanilla, a little extra cream, depending on who's making it. Yeah, I'm specific.
Very specific.
You are.
And then during the iced would be just iced coffee, vanilla with cream. I don't do any of the crazy things. Like people are always like,
No-
Starbucks is
no
so expensive.
classic.
Well, it's not expensive if you don't buy crazy things.
Well,
That's
that's
true. I literally get the exact same thing as Scott, but I've recently found out about this thing called lattes, and I just love the
This thing
creaminess.
called lattes.
Yeah, there's
like
something
it's
about
this new invention.
for me, it is the creaminess. It's just the right thing, and you get a kids temp too. If you go to Starbucks,
Kids
Kids
have-
stuff.
get a kids
He
temp.
does, he
That means you can drink it right away instead of burn your mouth off. So that's.
I don't
pretty-
really think Starbucks coffee is ever very
I-
hot.
yeah, I don't think so
Dunkin' though,
either.
I have to wait like
Oh.
2 days. Like I get it
Yeah.
for like tomorrow morning's commute.
Yeah.
Because
Tomorrow.
it's so hot. Their coffee is so hot.
That's true.
Starbucks though, I usually get it and it's like already kind of lukewarm.
I
That's true.
agree
That's true.
with you.
What about you?
So mine is blonde roast, blonde roast, but
Right.
almond milk. That's it.
Oh yeah. So chocolate milk, basically.
But that's not true.
Just looks like chocolate
Almond
milk
milk.
when you drink it.
Almond milk. Yeah, because I'm dairy free.
Got it.
Amazing. All right, next question.
Yeah, next
This is fun.
question.
Rapid fire.
Top 5 bands / artists.
Wow, that's
Top
involved.
5? Can we do like 3? I can't.
Okay, yeah.
How about
Top 5. Then it's like, okay, well, what genre? Okay, my all-time favorite band is the Dave Matthews Band.
Yes.
But then
I
I
did not
listen
make
to
that
like
guess.
I listen to like a lot of like worship music too.
Yeah.
Like so there's so many bands in that category.
true.
I
But if
know.
I had to do all time, whoa, this is really hard. Let's just say Dave Matthews Band. Dave Matthews solo. Come back to me. I only got one top.
All right. Well, for me, I'd say right at this moment, it's probably like the 1975.
It's good stuff.
There's another band that's inside of their label called No Rome. He's not a band; it's an artist, but he's really, really good. And it's true; it's different categories. I like
Yeah.
the story so far. They're like a pop punk band, very, very good, quality stuff. And then if I had to do worship, I don't even know, man. There's so many.
So many.
Maybe Elevation Worship. I like those guys a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it. I listen to all kinds of music. That's the
I
problem with me.
know.
So
Same.
What about you?
So Need to Breathe is my ultimate
Yeah, they're good.
favorite.
They're
I've been
very
to so many shows, it's almost a little embarrassing. Louis Capaldi.
oh,
I'm kind of
you know I'm
obsessed
friends
him
with
right
his
now.
drummer.
What?
Did you know that? Freddie, if you're watching.
Man, that's
That guy's
super
funny. too.
cool.
That
He's
guy's-
very
he's
funny.
like,
Lewis is
Louis?
amazing.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
hysterical. He's so funny.
the best.
I don't understand how do people sing in non-accents when they talk in one?
I've always
No,
wondered
I've
that.
always
I never
wondered that
can
too.
understand that.
Is it because like they grew up listening to American music maybe?
So they always just like emulate. It's just so
No,
wondered
that
that.
can't be it.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I've always wondered why that is.
Because like imagine if Louis Capaldi
Universal
sang
language.
like he talked, how different his songs would sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. You can hear it a
He's-
little
yeah, I
bit.
was gonna
Also,
say,
when
you
you see
can
like
hear
a
it
really,
talk.
really good actress, and they are in like an interview on like a late night show, and you're like, "That's how you really sound? How did you do?" But like that makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah.
they have to act like somebody else. But when
Sure.
you're singing, it's almost like you don't need to.
Right,
It's
right.
weird.
It is.
And like,
Yeah.
why does everyone think the American way to sing it is the correct way? Like,
Yeah, but no,
think it'd be
I don't
cool with
think
an
it-
I
accent.
don't know.
Does anybody know that? Why you sing without an accent? I'd be interested to hear like other people's
Yes.
I agree.
thought process
All right, next question. Next
on
question.
that. How old are you? I got a lot of that.
34.
33. I'll be 34 next Sunday.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm 18. No, I'm 25. Just kidding. 25.
25. Yeah. You're the youngin'.
I am.
Okay, so a funny story about each of us. So, do you have a funny story about Scott? You've been with him the longest.
Wait, so we tell a story about the other person?
Yeah. So, like funny story about Scott, funny story about Pablo, funny story about Michaela. I feel like we all know. There's many to choose from with me, but
What's it?
I already know one about Michaela.
I totally know the one you guys are going to
I got that one.
How about you take care of that
I got that one. Okay, so Michaela went on a video shoot with me, and we were gone for, I don't know, maybe 6 to 7 hours.
We were not
or so.
gone. No,
we
it
were.
wasn't that
No,
long.
we were. That's okay. We were.
Yeah, it was a whole
And
day.
It was a whole day.
Yeah.
And we got back, and her car was just running, keys in the ignition, and and in only the way that Michaela can say it, her immediate response was, "For the love of God, why is my car running?" In only the way that Michaela could say it. And to this day, I still don't understand how you leave your car running all day.
Like,
And it was like
she was
on
surprised.
Beyond E.
Yeah.
Which it always is. By the way, if you ever drive with Michaela, her car always needs gas.
Yep.
Her battery is always dead in her phone.
Yes.
And like
And
you
she
just
has-
always run on empty. in life.
She has 72 tabs open on her laptop.
Oh my gosh. And more tabs open in her Safari browser than anyone. And she's also the only person I know that uses YouTube, the browser version on her phone,
Really?
not the app.
I did not know this about you.
As we
Yeah.
said, there are many stories about Michaela.
So
true.
All right, Pablo, how about you?
Oh man, me. I had one about you. I just don't remember what it was right now. It was like the really, really funny story that we've done. We've gone through something, but I forget what it is.
Was that a wedding or
Something like that.
church?
Maybe we could take a second to figure that out. Because
We always forget to record. We shouldn't even actually. We probably
Like,
shouldn't.
wait,
even
we did?
mention that. No,
No, we're good.
we don't. What about just a? What about you, Pablo? How about just a personal? What is one of your favorite moments in your life? Your funniest moment that people would be like surprised about?
Funniest
Can't
moment.
think about someone else.
I'm just trying to think between you guys too, but I don't remember about funny. I had a really good one with you and me, but I don't remember what it is though. It was like one of the funniest things that we've gone through. I just forget what it is. Ah, man.
Can you think of any funny ones
Yeah.
of like Pablo at weddings or anything? Man, it was way easier to make fun of me.
Is that bad that we can't think of things directly?
Maybe
off
we
the
should
top
just
of
make
our
3 for.
head?
I
Yeah.
think we did cover 3.
I think let's move on to the other question because we could just keep talking about your funny moments, and we already cleared a bunch of those. But I want to get lots of questions in, so let's
Sure.
move to the next
Let's
one.
keep it going.
Okay. How many of you guys have tattoos?
I have one tattoo.
You do not.
Yes,
You didn't know that?
the band that I talked about earlier, a Dave Matthews Band tattoo.
You have a Dave Matthews Band tattoo.
I do.
He does.
I kind of judged you a little bit in my head right there.
That's good. Yeah, well, I was 18 years old. I remember I turned 18 and I was like, I want a tattoo because I could, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I literally like Googled Dave Matthews Band because I was a big fan at the time. I think I Googled Dave Matthews Band tattoo and like the first one I was like, that'll work.
Perfect.
Went to the place and got it. Like,
Amazing.
that's it.
That's crazy.
One day I want to have someone redesign a whole like something that
Floral
would cover that
system.
up. Yeah, right. I'll have a completely redesigned like that goes over top of it that
Okay.
becomes something like that
that'd be
changes
kinda
the
cool.
whole thing. Just because like I still like Dave Matthews Band, but like I didn't really put much thought into it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
I kind of just went with whatever I saw.
Yeah.
Pablo, do you have any
might-
tattoos?
I have a couple.
you have.
Just a couple.
You
How
have
about
a
what's your
couple.
favorite one?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably this one. Last Supper.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
can see it
that's
up
cool.
close. Maybe that angle can see it. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably this one. It's the Last Supper. It's like my favorite one, but I have a bunch.
I have 5.
You have 5.
Yeah.
I lost count of mine, I think, but 5 is good.
Yeah. I have a mountain. Like my favorite hymn.
Nice.
Where's the Scaling Creative logo? Where did you put that one? I forget.
That's coming.
That's the one you're getting designed, right?
Yes.
Like on your forehead or like,
Just like my neck. Like right here.
like
Imagine.
Mike Tyson tattoo, like with the
SC.
face.
She'll just get it real small right here.
What's your favorite tattoo?
Ooh, good question.
Mine is probably the mountain. Just
Why?
'cause,
What
like
does it
what
mean?
it represents.
What does it represent?
The
We
verse
got
in the
deep here.
Bible where it talks about having faith the size of a mustard seed and you can move mountains.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
So, yeah,
That's nice.
just like my faith, and also too the symbolism of just I've been through some things in life, and just got to keep climbing.
There are peaks and valleys.
and
in
valleys.
Life,
Yes.
business,
Mm-hmm.
and everything.
For sure.
Can't appreciate the peaks without the valleys.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song about that, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's a good one.
Okay, some other questions that we got. Would you ever get a PC in the future?
Is that a question for me?
It's for all of us.
Oh, sure. Oh, if I needed one.
I think I would say no.
Personally, no. But for business, maybe. Depends on what we use software-wise, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I'm a fan of good products that do good things.
Mm-hmm.
And if a PC comes out that impresses me, there's a lot actually that are coming out that are actually impressive devices.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I don't think Apple's what they used to be, to be honest.
That's
It's
true.
a whole other topic, but
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. But for us, like everything we do is really Mac based and it's Mac software based, so it doesn't make sense. But like if we were not relying on some of the stuff that we do that can be cross platform, sure, why not?
Those are all the fun like life ones that I got for like the group, and then I have a couple that are kind of specific more toward Scott and Pablo.
Okay.
So how did you guys get started in video? Like what was the beginning?
That's a good question. You want to go?
Yeah. I got started when I was a full-time musician by like just randomly filming things, and I was always into gadgets and tech. So I was always I still am to this day, but in 2005 and 4 and 3 I was like into the greatest latest phone that no one even knew about before, like the iPhone came out, like just always into tech. And so I always used to film stuff of me like when I traveled around, and I never had anywhere to put it because YouTube didn't exist, but I was always just into like recording stuff. And then I just started to do it more and more, and started to help with like my dad's company at the time and a couple other things. Then it kind of just eventually overtook what I actually enjoyed doing more. And I kind of let go of the music side of things from like that being my job, and then just did video.
So it's kind of organic.
Yeah. I think it's kind of just always been going. And then once I lost like my love for, or the desire to become famous musician, naturally the first thing I wanted to do was video stuff. It was just that I still enjoyed that more than the rest of it.
Gotcha.
Similar story, kind of with me. I used to do music, not full time, but I used to be in a band and like we toured and everything. And I remember we wanted to do a video for like a studio update that we were doing. It's still on YouTube actually, but and they were like, nobody in the band wanted to do it, and so they were like, Pablo, you take photos, right? And I was like, not really, but they were like, here, take those little flip videos that had the little USB flip out thing.
That's what I had.
Yeah, so I had that, and I barely had like iMovie, I think, or whatever. So I just like put something together, and I remember loving it, but I never really acted upon that. I was just like, oh, like I don't have time for that. I do music, and I have school and all this stuff, so I never did anything. But then years had gone by, and I remember I was with Scott because we became friends through like worship leading and church stuff, and then we were at Starbucks, and he showed me a vlog. And it was the first time I've ever seen a vlog, and I was like, whoa. I was like, I could do that. And like I really liked the idea of it. And I just had like learned a lot from like business and like stuff when I was like early 20s and stuff. So I was like, I have a lot I want to share with people, but I don't know how to do it. And so I figured like vlogging could be that. And so I kind of fell in love with vlogging, video, and then as years gone on, took it more seriously. And now I like can't even imagine not doing it. So, yeah.
I don't know why anybody didn't ask me why when I got started in video.
Yeah, rude.
When did you get started with Instagram stories?
Let's be real here.
That's about the extent of my videos. I got the angle down, right, Pablo?
True, yeah. When she has that arm extended up.
That's such why do all girls do
Because
that angle?
It just makes you look skinnier.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is? All right. Sweet.
Totally.
I'll try.
I'll start
No,
trying that.
you have to try it.
Every time we start to film videos for clients, if they're feeling like, hey, does this work up here? How is this angle?
This angle looks
so
good, right?
Shooting from a
true.
ladder.
It's so true. Like my really tall friends, if they come to a wedding, I'm like, hey, will you take this picture? Because then I look a little.
My tall friends. That's all they're good for.
That's basically every one of your other friends.
True.
Anyone who's
I'm
taller
a whole
than me.
5'0".
Everybody just seems tall out here. I don't know.
It's so true.
All right.
So what lens do you use most?
Ooh.
Definitely depends on the camera.
True.
But for the GH5s, when we use those like crazy, my favorite lens was the 45 millimeter, which is a 90 millimeter equivalent. We're about to start getting crazy here, but it's double the focal length, so it's like a 90 millimeter equivalent. I just love the way it looks. And then now my favorite on the C200s is an 85 millimeter, which is an actual 85 millimeter. So clearly I like that space, the 85 and 90 space of just what it does for emotions, what it does for like being tight but not always too tight. And I love it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful lens.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're shooting, what cameras we're shooting with. But if I was shooting on the GH5s, like on a wedding day, let's say, I love the 25 millimeter, which is what equivalent? I forget. 50 equivalent. That's a 1.2 lens. So I love that lens. I can, if I had to live on it for the day, I could. It's kind of like wide, but I like it. And then for the C200s, I think I like the 85 as well.
85 is
It's just such
beautiful.
a great lens. But yeah.
Yeah, there's so much with lenses. Like one thing I think you learn over the course of doing it more is it's unbelievable how different a lens tells a story
That's true.
in such a different way. Like when you're shooting things, a wide angle is such a different feel than a tight, and not just simply a tight lens moved back, but there's different emotion that is pulled out of when you actually want to tell a story. Like the lens choice plays such a factor into that. Same with photos too. Like there's times that you want to bring the background closer to people with like lens compression and things that tells a whole different feel of what you're looking at. It's just really fascinating to like learn about. And I think the greatest like director, like DPs, which is director of photography on video shoots, they're very good at understanding what lens best tells the story that they're working on. And it's an art. Definitely an art.
What about when you vlog?
When we vlog, we use very wide angle lenses because we want the audio to be, well, number one, when you hold a camera far or pretty close to your body, it has to be wide enough that you're in the frame and not like just your eyeballs.
Right.
So I use a 16 to 35 Canon lens, and most of the time at 16 millimeters, just so it's nice and wide, because then you're nice and close to the audio too.
Yep. I currently use a GH5 for vlogging, so I use a Leoa 7.5 millimeter. What was it 2.0? I think?
2.0,
Yeah.
So like a 15 equivalent.
Right.
Same focal length.
Yeah, because of the micro four thirds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I use for vlogging right now. It really depends on what you're shooting. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But so I have a favorite lens for like different situations, kind of. Yeah.
What would my favorite lens be?
Your front facing
This one right here.
720p video from your
20p.
4-year-old iPhone.
I know. Yo, I just ordered the new one,
Did ya?
Oh shoot!
right?
iPhone 11.
Yeah.
Wait, you were gonna wait a second, folks.
What?
Michaela is going to have the newest phone in this office.
Whoa. Not for long though.
Her stories are going to be going to a whole new level.
Oh goodness.
It happens like every other year. I remember I'll come into work and then Scott's like, "Hey, do you want to go to the Verizon store?" And I know what that means.
The new one.
We're all walking away.
Yo, I've had this one for quite a while.
I know, I could tell.
Quite a while.
I can tell.
Okay, so if somebody is starting a vlog and they're new to this whole thing,
Sure.
but they want it to look good,
Mm-hmm.
they want to be professional, what camera should they get if their price point is around $1,000?
Oh wow.
1,000 to 1,500.
It's amazing how much is still within that. Like there's a lot that can go into that question.
I think you had told me once the Canon 5 something, 5, 6.
So it's really hard because
Yeah.
I've had every single camera, like
I know.
the test,
Like twice.
and I can tell you the pros.
Twice.
I can tell you the pros and cons of all of them because there's literally no perfect camera.
No.
And
Right.
depending on the type of work that you're doing, even when it comes to like, I just want to record videos for YouTube, well, there's factors that go into that
Yeah.
because the lenses matter so much and like what lens you have and all that kind of stuff.
Canon has cheaper lenses, right? Than like
No,
Sony.
definitely not.
No?
They have way more expensive lenses,
Oh, okay.
but they
I'm so smart.
But when it comes to like that price point, you're not spending a lot of money on lenses anyway.
Okay.
Like the lenses are what are expensive in a video industry in the first place. So there's just so many different, like there's some lenses that are really cheap that are really good lenses, but not like for vlogging. Or
Okay.
there's some that are really good for vlogging, but that's really the only purpose that it's going to have. So, I mean, yeah, Canon M50 is a nice little starter type of camera with a little kit lens, and kit lens means like the lens that comes with it, which as you are more experienced in this, kit lenses are never very good. They're just kind of a very versatile lens. But Canon M50 is good. Sony makes some good things like A6600 now, 6400, 6500. Sony comes out with cameras literally weekly, more than any other company I've ever seen. It's crazy.
It's true.
But literally the best starting thing is like your phone and a good microphone until you actually stick with it.
A microphone on your phone?
Yeah, you plug in a better mic to your phone and just improve the audio in a big way.
Oh.
Because too many people just use the excuse of when I get the budget to get a camera, then I'll do it. And I promise you this, if you're waiting to get the equipment to do it, you'll never do it. Because once you get it, you're going to have a different excuse.
Okay.
Excuse is an excuse. People that want to succeed in creating their own content, whether it be vlogs, whether it be personal brand stuff, you start with what you have and you start immediately. Because here's the great thing, no one watches in the beginning anyway. So get used to doing it on camera. Get used to seeing what you like to do. Do you want something super portable? Because then you can start to pick the camera and the setup that makes sense for what you actually want to do and decide. Like people would carry around like the cameras we vlog with and be like, how do you carry this around all day? We're used to it. That's like, so I would never use anything smaller, but if you're not in a situation where you can carry around a big camera all the time, doesn't make sense either.
Yeah, the same
start with
people
something.
that are like making excuses as far as like I can't afford it or once I get a camera, they have a phone.
Yeah.
All of them have a phone, so they can download very simple like apps to edit things. Like you can make it work. And I think just having the whatever camera that you have on you is the best camera. And sometimes if that's just your phone, you can still tell a story that way.
Cool beans.
Yeah, the newest phones from every manufacturer shoot better video than every camera that was out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
true.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Sure. Yeah.
So start with that. Get yourself a good microphone, which you can do for very inexpensive. Use your
Give a
camera.
recommendation for
Yeah, we can put links in it, but I mean, Rode makes really good little on-camera microphones, little video mic. They make a Video Micro, they make a Video Mic Pro, they make different things that can access directly. There's little cases that you buy that your phone mounts in it and the microphone mounts on top of it, because audio is just a big piece of it.
Yeah.
Like audio from these devices sound really bad by themselves because it has to be far away and all that. But so there's just factors that go into it. But I always say, like, start with something if you're looking to create a vlog, and don't wait until you have to get the perfect thing, because you'll find a different excuse. That's true.
How did you come up with the name Scaling Creative?
So Mindy, who does like a lot of graphic stuff for us, we were both sitting down when so in January of 2019, is it 2019? Yeah. In 2019 was when I was making the decision to make 4LC Studios, which was my previous company and name. I was branching off to make it its own company to be able to do commercial work. And so I wanted to like somehow incorporate, I was trying to figure out a way to incorporate like my kids' like initials, different stuff with the company. And so I was thinking about doing something with my son, which was Connor, and his middle name is Scott. And so we had like the CS idea. We're trying to figure out different things. And a big thing for me is when I was thinking about company names in general, everything had to be available on all platforms. And so every time we'd even come up with ooh, that sounds interesting, we'd look. And if I couldn't get the domain, the handles, everything with exactly how it is, it wouldn't even be an option.
Right.
So we had come up with, actually, here's a little super behind the scenes. We had come up with the company that I wanted to call it way before Scaling Creative. And now I'm looking back, I'm glad I didn't, but called The Video Guys, because people always refer to us in that way. Like
Yeah.
when they see us out, like, oh yeah, these are the video guys. They're doing this, and we're always like, it just seems like that makes a lot of sense. Like just like that would make it's just a term. But we couldn't get a lot of those things. The handles. There was already a company that did something else that was called that had like the .org, and then I had to spend a lot of money to buy the .com. All these things.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story long. Then creative. So we came up with like the CS, and Mindy had thrown like a bunch of different like random names, like with CS, just different random things. And it was either like creative scaling or it was like something along that name, something like that. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, I think I like, excuse me, I like that idea, but what about like scaling creative instead, like flipping them? And right when right when it was said, it just felt like it made sense because of what we do. Like that ultimately as a company, we like scale companies by using creative to do it.
Right.
And so it just seemed like it made so much sense.
Right.
And then literally like 2 days later, Mindy had logos designed. She had like in just the way that Mindy does, fast, incredibly fast. And then it was like, I remember we yelled to Pablo, we came up with a name, and he was editing, and he yelled, "What?" Because he had his headphones on because he was his desk.
I was there for the history. Didn't experience it though.
Yeah. But that's kind of, how it,
Okay.
yeah.
I like
But
it.
now I love it. Like we
Yeah.
get lots of compliments on
Yeah,
the
we
name
do.
because it does make a lot of sense, and it's just cool how it like is a cooler name now than I even thought it was when we kind of initially were coming up with it.
I still get like comment in the comments like
Yeah.
stuff that I'm like, oh, I'm here at Scaling today or whatever, and like people love the name.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
It's like makes sense because it just makes sense and it sounds cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool the way it kind of came about. Where do you see Scaling Creative in 5 years? Was one question.
Oh man, so good.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Let your
not here.
imagination run wild.
Yeah. So, Scaling Creative has been in existence for 10 months. So that would be over 4 years from now. Man.
That's a crazy thought.
Here's how I look at where I want things to be. I want things to be at a place that, like, I as an owner and then as employees, that we're still enjoying what we're doing every single day. So if that can mean that we're a 200-person media company doing millions of dollars of revenue, but we're still loving it, then great. If it means that we decide to not scale to a huge level because we don't think that we want to factor in the other things that come with that, then that could be it too. So like I don't have like I don't like putting a number on when it hits this, that's a success, or when it hits this, we'll stop, or when it hits this, because I feel like that number just goes all the time. Like that we've hit a lot of goals if realistically, if you would have said, if we'd be at this point, then it would be great. But I just like continuing to grow. Like I just think it's fun to grow. But 5 years from now, I don't even know. I don't even know if I'll still like live here. I don't even know. Like I don't even know. I'm all over the
I
place.
think that I'll be running the Nashville.
There you go. Yeah, we do want to. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. 5 years from now, I definitely would like to have other locations for sure. I would love to expand our reach to just be able to service people in the same way that we do now, which right now you can only do so much remote. Like we have a lot of remote clients, but the ongoing ones are hard unless they're local. And it would be awesome to be able to do what we do in some of these markets that I think, because the great thing about what we do is like content and video content is huge now. It's only going to get bigger in terms of who needs it.
Right. Yeah, and I think more and more companies are going to realize that they need it. So a lot more people are going to need it. So if you had to have like 3 dream locations in addition to Allentown,
Nashville.
Allentown is the first dream location.
Yeah. and we already hit that dream.
We were way in there.
Yeah, but Allentown's an amazing place to be right now because
it is. It's so close.
And there's really, I mean, I don't think there's really anyone doing what we do. I mean, there's plenty of other video companies. I just think that we have a unique thing of what we do really well. But I would love Nashville. I definitely want something West Coast based. So San Diego would be amazing just from a where it like I love that place, but I don't think I would have like a office there. It'd probably be more like LA or something that had a, and then either the Northwest or the Southeast, I think would be, because you're trying to like, if you're thinking about points, it would make sense to
If you
be
could choose a
kinda spread.
location, where would it be?
I don't know. I like all the spots you just said.
Yeah.
We even talked about like a Europe one eventually.
Yeah.
Like London.
UK would be super
London
cool.
would be cool. Something like that would be really cool. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it really, as far as the 5-year question goes, I feel like it really comes down to like, obviously the business owner. So like it comes down to what you want to do, what you feel you can do with like still maintaining like some sort of normality in life. Like it's just, there's a lot of things that go into it, but I've always looked at business as like a really big game. And I feel like I just look at people that play a huge game and I've always been fascinated by them. I'm like, man, like what do they think about? What do they talk about? Like what I've always been like just fascinated by it. So in my opinion, it's like, I've even talked to Scott about this. I'm like, what does it look like to own a $200 million company or $500 million company? Like, what is that even, is that possible? Is it like probable? Like, should you, can you, like, I mean, you can, but like, I've always just wondered, like, you don't know what it looks like until you try it, like kind of thing. And I'm not afraid of that kind of thought, but at the same time, it comes down to like, you have to be like human. You have to be able to do it, want to do it, love doing it. I think that's really what matters. What he said is like, as long as you can get to that level or whatever, you don't even have to, it's not even about that really. It's more about loving what you do. And then if you want to play that big game and you're able to, and still like being normal essentially in a way, you have to be kind of a little crazy to do something like that, I think, but in a good, crazy way. But,
yeah, having a $500 million company, but hating it
makes
doesn't
nothing.
sound enjoyable.
Not at all. No, but if you're having fun the whole way up, and you get to that point, and you're like, oh, this is what
I think
like.
it's silly
it's
not
like,
to dream big. I mean, it's if it's like you don't ask many people what they want to do, and they're like, I just want to. And maybe people just want to be sitting on the couch, but like I feel like people always have big goals and ideas, and why not dream big?
Yeah.
And who knows how big that is?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to think.
Yeah.
Cool question, whoever that was.
So, really important question for you, Scott. Do you enjoy being bald?
Oh, thank you very much for that. Didn't you ask me the other day too how I
I asked you. I was
started
like, how
becoming
long
bald?
like when did you?
So I've never really had hair other than like a weird 3-year spurt in high school where I have curly hair actually, if you didn't know that.
Really?
And so when I grew it out, I had like really curly, like it was really curly, like yeah. And so it was only like a 3-year period, and I was terrible at actually doing it. So like in high school, my mom legit had to like help me like do the gel and all that kind of stuff. But it was terrible. But I always had short hair, and I always wore hats. And if you wear a lot of hats, you go bald fast.
Right, you do. Yeah.
So I always said when my hair was really short and I started to get like balding at all, I was like, it's just silly. Like it's basically bald anyway. Let's just speed up this process.
Let's commit here
and just like go for it. And then I just like randomly did it. But it's like it's way more work trying to stay bald than it is. Because you actually have to get your haircut like every other day.
True. I like when me and Scott go out on shoots and like there's another bald guy out there and like they just instantly have a connection.
It's like a Jeep owner. Yeah, you go by, you're like, nice cut, bro. Yeah. Like it's looking good.
It's like my favorite thing. I'm like, I can't relate, but I just
like the Wrangler.
I can feel their connection though.
Yeah.
You just have that look. It's just
the look. Yeah. Especially if they have glasses too. It's like an instant.
They tend to always have like a beard and glasses.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah. I still think your logo should be
I
like
agree.
just like bald head with like the glasses,
like just
the
above my
beard.
face, like right here, like looking over a table.
That'd be good.
I think someone actually does have that kind of logo.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's we can steal it. Okay. Good.
Another question was, what do you guys, the three of you, have in common? Like all three of you, what are some things you have in common?
Well, you and I are both 7s.
Yeah. Where are both 7s?
In the Enneagram. For the people like
what's your number?
I am a 2, from what I can tell.
Yeah, you are a 2.
Okay, well then, that's what I am. You take the Enneagram personality test?
So
or
good.
anything like that, whatever.
I think we all have a lot of things in common. We have like 90. I feel like we have like 90% of things in common, but the 10% of all our differences are like what makes us work well, or how to be able to actually handle. Like,
That's true.
There's very unique. Like you guys are super people person. People. I don't know how you say it.
People.
Yeah, people.
Where like sometimes that's not naturally what I tend to be. Like I can naturally just sometimes need to be by myself, but you guys are really good at like balancing some of that.
Sure.
I think we all are like very just
Goal-oriented
big goal driven.
We all sing.
Yeah, we all sing. We
do.
all like music.
I agree, though. There are pieces of us that are like all like different. Because like when I had my own business, there was things that you're really good at that I was like never good at, like certain organizational things, behind the scenes things, paperwork, like storage things, like the stuff that you like just do really well.
Yeah.
Is stuff that like I struggled with, but like. Every once in a while, we'll be on a shoot, and Scott's like, "What was that guy's name?" And I'll like remember the guy's name or something. You know what I mean? Like we compliment each other in lots of ways like that.
Yeah.
So it's just little things that I feel like I agree. We all are very similar in like what we want and where we want to go, but like little things that we're like each better at. I guess we help each other in that way too.
I think we have a strong foundation as far as like our faith is similar.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's true. Definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the other one was like, what are some of your biggest differences? Which we kind of went through those as well.
I definitely never left my car on for that. So.
Yeah. No, I definitely have the one side that you guys don't, which is like the organizational efficiency craziness side of me.
I
That
like
that is so not naturally
I love the
you guys at all.
Yeah, for
do
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it. It's something that can change because I've definitely gotten better at it. But I agree.
I think you can get better at it. I think, but if it doesn't naturally, if it's not naturally who you are, it just is a non-stop challenge. Where other people, like, there's zero challenge in just creating efficiency.
No, for sure.
And sevens, actually, it's really interesting. So when sevens are in growth, you go to a 5, which is investigator, researcher, like they figure things out. So when I'm in my like 5 mode, man, I'm like super organized and I just get
figuring
stuff
it out.
done.
Yeah.
And then when I'm in my 7 mode,
because sevens also get themselves in trouble when they're overextended.
Yes.
When they have so many things going on that you naturally feel like you never actually get anything done. You have the most productive day ever, and you're like, I literally did nothing today. And you're like, no, you did.
Yeah.
It's just in your brain you had 97,000 things to do.
Right.
You only completed 90,000 of them. Like So you never feel accomplished in your day.
You're doing so many things that you feel like you're not doing one thing extremely well.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like getting a lot done, but not to the level that you want. And I think we both have pretty high expectations of ourselves.
True. Yeah.
And I'm over here like, did I help? Did I connect with somebody's heart today?
Yeah.
You know, like,
well, and that's that's the very unique. As I say, that's like the really unique thing about like Michaela and I are the exact person, that same personality type.
Sure.
But in the variances, we're so different.
It's true.
Which is really weird of, I think, sevens because there's things that we see.
Well, our
super
wings
eye
are
to
different.
eye. Yeah.
You're an 8 wing. I'm a 6 wing.
Like when we were leaving the one wedding, we were leaving. Quick story before we finish it. There's one wedding we were leaving. Me and Scott were like, okay, we have all the cameras, all the stands, all the lights, everything. We got audio. We got everything ready to go. Scott's like, you good to go? Like we're both tired. We've been there all day, 14-hour day. We're ready to leave. And he's like, where's Michaela? And we're looking, and she's talking with the whole band.
Oh, I was.
The whole, they were like all eating. You were like, guys, I just love all you guys, you know. And we were like, are you not ready
like
to go?
Complimenting them?
Yeah. You're like talking, like finding out their story. I'm like, this is the difference right here. Scott's like, could not care less about these guys right now.
No, definitely not that.
No, he's just like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny. Well, it's so fun to work with both of you, and
Thanks.
being here at Scaling Creative. So those were pretty much all of the questions.
We had a lot of questions about technical things that for this podcast doesn't necessarily make as much sense.
Right.
There's like because we all have such different
people
that follow.
Yeah.
what we do,
Oh, you know the one I didn't ask. Somebody asked like, how the heck did I end up here?
Yeah.
How
Because you're a
I?
7. I remember. And the funny thing is, when I've known Michaela for a decent amount of time, but when I first approached her about like, I want to bring you on board here, I said to you, you're like a female version of me. And it turns out, I did. I literally said that you're a female version of me, except way nicer. But it turned out that I literally had the correct intuition because we're the same personality type.
Yeah.
That there are aspects of like, and that the nicer part actually helps things even more because there's things that instinctively we do. Like
Mm-hmm.
she works 24 hours a day with internally like I do.
Yeah.
Like they're always
Right.
randomly like we'll be slacking back and forth like 5:15 in the morning, like full in depth like business conversations and be like, wait, what time? Like literally no one else is up in the world right now. We're like working at our day, like just
Mm-hmm.
and it's just I think a 7 thing to do.
Yeah.
It's true.
So yeah, it's just but that's how you ended up here.
Yes.
We needed a much nicer person than me to help other things too.
She's HR.
HR, yeah.
I'm a few things. I feel like I just
A few things.
do a few things.
You make some good coffee too, honestly.
Yeah. No, Allison wins the coffee.
Ooh, true.
Okay.
True.
Without Allison, none of us stay awake each day.
That's true.
Yeah.
Allison's the glue of the operation here.
When I get here and there's nobody here, like I like wait for Allison to like arrive because I feel like I don't know how to make it the same way.
There you go.
They're all behind the camera.
Yeah, they're
Back there.
They're all looking at us. Any other questions you guys want to, or anything that anybody sent you that maybe I missed?
No, that was good.
Yeah.
I think that works. If we need to do a Q&A version 2 or 2.0 one day,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
I think this is fun though too, just to kind of like
It's
get to know us,
Mhm.
and I always love because I listen to a lot of podcasts,
For sure.
and I love these type of ones that are, just a good mixture of just getting to know people a little bit more.
Mhm.
Right.
So I was excited to do this one.
Yeah. And we definitely want to answer more questions. Like
Mhm.
if you watch this podcast, obviously the biggest reason we like the topics we come up with and things that we continue to try to create are really based on what we see people asking and like what we see that we can provide some value to you.
Yeah.
So your comments were really important to us on all platforms, regardless how you get in touch with us. If there are certain topics, sometimes we get into a podcast and we're like, this could be a 5-6 hour episode.
Yeah.
Because of how much stuff there is. So we selectively choose what ends up being there and what doesn't. But if there's certain topics and things you watch or even something in this Q&A that, hey, I would really like to hear more about that, we always are taking different suggestions of things, of what we want to kind of go after. And we're really strategic about trying not to make it so focused on one topic at all times. So that's why we're booking a lot more guests to come on. So
stuff
because on topics, like we're going to talk about what we know well and what we feel like we know well, but we always see value in bringing other people on board that we see doing it well. We may understand how to do it well, but if we see people already like crushing it in a certain field, like culture, we had Brittany on to talk about that, and personal brand, and we're gonna have people like talk about a lot of different things. We love that. And so whether it's you requesting certain topics that we talk about or this person that would be great for us to have on the podcast, we definitely want to continue to expand this and be able to do more unique things with it. That's not just obviously our voices. Our voices are only a piece of the puzzle.
For sure. I'm excited about some of the guests that we have coming up and the topics that we're going to be covering. So thanks for hanging with us today. Like you said, questions, comments, we would love to hear from you. Anything else you want to add before we head out?
Nah.
I'm good.
All right. We'll
Thanks for
see you
being
or talk to you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.